Hi there, I'm Marius, and on a recent video I got the question, well, and how do I install the Power Pages Client API? And fair enough, I always show using it, but never how to install it. So let's fill this gap. First of all, my usual disclaimer. At the time of filming, the Power Pages Client API is in a pretty rough state. You can see over here at attributes, for example, we have a lot of red X's what's not implemented. However, the most important functions for attributes, probably add-on change, get value, and set value, are implemented. So maybe you can already gain some value from it and might want to install it. If you want to use it already, there are two ways. One of the ways is the one that I usually use in my videos. That is the plain JavaScript version. So if you're just using vanilla JavaScript, or as you see me just using the console for these videos, then you can navigate here to the dis.js folder, take the only file inside, index.js, and download it. Next, from the Design Studio, you can go to the Power Pages Management app, and from there navigate to Web Files in the menu. And here I've already created the file, so I've hit New, set a parent page of Home, and my website, of course, and then I gave it a name. The file is called index.js, but as you can see here, you can give it a totally different name and partial URL. Okay, and then after we have the web file, back in the Design Studio, so you select the page where you want the Client API to be available, hit Edit Code, and then over here in the VS Code, I have currently the form copy open, and here I've linked the script. It's right under slash, so right under the index page, the home page. That's why I selected home here. If you selected a different parent page, of course you need to have the URL of that parent page. If you want to use the Power Pages Client API on more than one page, so maybe universally across your site, or you have multiple languages installed like I have here, you can see, for example, the German version of this page does not have the script because it has a separate web page copy. So in that case, I would advise you to use the web templates down here. So one sample would be the default Studio template. However, they tell you, please do not modify. So I could instead take the header HTML, but we will explore that option when we are discussing the second option of installation. And after saving that change, we can head back to the Design Studio, hit Preview, and arrive at our page. And if we just check our form context being available, we are calling for the Power Pages Client API.form context. And then here I'm using a simple get attribute to see if I get something back. Yes, I get a string attribute with a logical name of MWO string. The second option of installation is only relevant if you are already using TypeScript and a bundler. That could be because you're already using the Power Pages template repository I've shown in a different video. And in that video, I already mentioned that this is nice, all this bundling, because it allows you to easily integrate packages from other people. So let's do that. We are going to run npm install, and then the name of the package is Power Pages Client API. And that has changed your package.json. So where you now have a dependency on the Power Pages Client API. You will also find it in the nodes module folder. So now we have here in the dist, we have a lot of JavaScript files with the modules of the Power Pages Client API. Next up, I've modified the home class to onload check if there are any tabs on the page, and if so, it will print to the console that there seems to be a form with so and so many tabs, and if there are none found, then there does not seem to be a form. Also, I want to make you aware of this line right here. Because of the way how modules work, this line right here that we've used earlier in the console will only work inside the class that imports it. So if I just go into the console, it wouldn't let me execute the same line of code somewhere in the window.top, for example. To be able to do that, I need to host it into the window, and that's what's done here. So we're taking the window, writing a new property, Power Pages Client API, and putting in the modularized Power Pages Client API that we just installed into the window. And then we are good to go again with doing some experiments with the console. If you are only implementing in your classes and don't want to experiment like I do in these videos, then you can skip this line right here. This sample of the home class is uploaded to the Power Pages template repository in a separate branch called with Power Pages Client API, because the Power Pages Client API does not have a version 1.0 yet, so I wouldn't consider it fully released. I wouldn't include it to the main branch yet. To deploy this, we need to now run npm run build. That has created our index.js in the dist folder. Next up, I'm in the Design Studio again, this time on a different Power Page. And again, we need to go to the Power Pages Management app. And here in Web Files, we create another web file. So this time I've actually called it index.js, again under the homepage. This time under the different website, I've used two websites here to avoid any conflicts with the same code. We have the file uploaded right here. So if we need to replace it, we need to delete it first and then upload the new index.js. Or we could also do it via the VS Code, then you just copy over the code. Next, let's edit code in the Design Studio. So first up, you can see right here that the index.js file is also listed here, so we could copy over the code. What we can also see is that we have a marker here for every file in our project. So these ones are from our SRC folder, but you can also see here different files from node modules, Power Pages Client API, and then in this case here UI.js, tab collection, tab, and so on, that are the modules of the Power Pages Client API. So apparently the code made it in, and let's next up check the web page copy. In this case, I haven't put it directly into the web page copy. Instead, I used the header HTML, and at the very bottom, I've added the script tag with the source for /index.js to load the web file that I created earlier. So it will now be available on all pages of this Power Page that have the header up here. And then in the JS of home, I've simply added the new home.onload method to be called when the document is ready. So let's hop over to the Design Studio again, hit preview, and start testing. And I mean, okay, the homepage is empty, so there is no form on it, but we can see our two messages from the home TS file, the home constructor, and the page does not seem to have a form. That was one of the messages we had in our original code here in the else part. With the second method, the Power Pages Client API becomes part of your own JavaScript file that you generate, that has the advantage that it's also deployed everywhere where your own code is active. So if you integrate the index.js to another page, you can be sure that the Power Pages Client API is also present. With the first method of the standalone file, you can, of course, also make it available everywhere, but if you have more of these pages, so different frameworks, helpers, and so on, that you have on your page, and some are active on some pages and others not, you might run later into issues where you've just forgotten to include a script somewhere because there are like 5 scripts to include, and this is why I lean towards using a bundler like we did in the second method. If you're not familiar with the Power Pages template and how that bundling works, I will link you to a video of my channel in the description below. And that's it for the installation. I wish you lots of fun with experimenting with the Power Pages Client API. Bye!